assistant is run by a bunch of investment bankers, and their modus operandi.
I'm Fernando Lucchi, editor for Morningstar in Spain, and today I'm joined by Francesco Tarabini. Francesco is the head of global sales fixed income at Vontobel. Francesco, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
My first question, Francesco, is what views have Vontobel on the fixed income markets?
Yes. Actually, we remain quite constructive. In our main scenario, we are still positive and allocate in overweight risky fixed income asset classes. In particular, we are positive on the high yield side, still on Europe credit, and also on the emerging market debt.
Okay, which type of products are you recommending to your clients in the fixed income segments?
Normally, the kind of products which I recommend are the products which I personally invest my money, since this shows at least my conviction. We think that there is no reward for investor if they just invest, let's say, in a sovereign government bond, while we think there is still quite some interesting yield to pick up in the high yield space. And particularly, we created 1 year ago a very innovative product, which is the difference between most of the existing products is that it allocates on a global level US and Europe in an equal proportion. And it can flexibly shift between Europe and US according to the potential which we have in the market.
Yes, and the name of the product is?
Is the Vontobel Fund Global High Yield. On the other side, we think that there is also some interest in the emerging market space. Emerging market has been characterized, as anyone knows this year, by big outflows due from the fear of investor in May and June, which we think was mostly generated by the retail segment of the investor. But actually it has not a fundamental reason for that. In fact, we are totally convinced that the emerging market, which is very clear, have a much sounder fundamental data. We know that the debt is much lower in those regions. We know that they are growing much more than some developed, the most developed countries. And actually we are convinced that in the future we will live an increase, mostly from institutional investor, up to double the existing allocation in those space.
Yeah, I know that in the range of products from Vontobel, there is one very particular product called the mid-yield. Can you tell us a bit more on this product?
Yes, this is on the corporate side. Maybe just to finish one more, if I may, on the emerging market. An emerging market, it's characterized by products mostly focused in local currency, in hard currency, in blend, or in the corporate space. Right now, to finish to your previous question, we think that it's more interesting to invest into the hard currency products since it has corrected actually. From an evaluation point of view, is more interesting, let's say, or equally interesting right now as the local currency, but the local currency still have some incognita on that side. On the corporate side, we think it's a very interesting segment. At the moment, it's still relatively expensive. So on emerging market, we recommend now the hard currency investment. The mid-yield is indeed an euro corporate product, which is characterized by a focus in the shorter part of the investment grade space, because we lived in the last 20 years a huge downgrade, as we all know, of the space in the corporates, and now more than actually 80% of the market is in the from single A to triple B space. But we actually want to be extremely active, because it's very important to be flexible and active in the market. So in case of negative market, what happened in 2011, we are able to allocate up to 1/4 in so-called risk-free asset class, like it can be the bond, it can be cash, or AAA covered bonds, while, as it has been in the last 2 years, we are much more aggressive and we can go up to 50% in the subordinated space, which is extremely interesting and very low correlated with the rise in interest rate, and we can go up to 15%, from next year up to 25% just in the double B space.
Okay, so to summarize your three ideas, first global high yield, then emerging markets, and to finish the mid-yield.
Yeah, mid-yield, which is It's a space which we are quite contrarian. As you know, this year, according to your data, the Euro corporate space lost more than 4 billion year to date. Our fund has been performing actually extremely well and much better than many of the, let's say, more flexible, unconstrained products which have had huge inflows through the year, over 40 billions, if you consider also the so-called global flexible one. So we still think it's a very sound, very simple as a class, but if you play it with a high level of flexibility, it can still grant a lot consistent, interesting performance.
Okay, well, thank you, Francesco, for these 3 ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Is run by amazing investment bankers, and their modus operandi